is good. So Acharya Maharaj Murti, a very beautiful Murti of Shari Maharaj, that Shrantaka Maharaj made, that was there. It's just like Acharya Maharaj. Acharya Maharaj told, he said, I'm always with you. I'll always be with you. And he said, I'll always come to take you back. How is that possible? Huh? What does he mean? Is he there? He must have been there, no?
It is surprising. So many have tried to make the deity of Acharya Maharaj. They could not make. So many months and months they tried. But we only tried in 15 days it came up.
Other
This,
devotees, they also tried to make a Murti of
Yes,
Acharya
I
Maharaj,
see.
but so many obstacles came and they couldn't make it. But when Srila Shanta
could
Maharaj
not come properly.
could not come properly,
Right.
but the one that Srila Shanta Maharaj
They
did
came very nicely,
15 days.
easily.
Yeah.
Huh? He knows where the real, his real servitors are, and he wants to come there and manifest himself.
House did lot of seva. Yes. They have given milk for the sweets, rasgullas, paneer, everything came from cows.
The cows did so much seva.
Krishna manifests himself in his devotees. And he was asking who was asking that? Shiva Parvati, was asking, where can I find Krishna? And where can I find Krishna? Then who said, yes, Krishna said that I am in the heart of my devotees, You want to find me? You can find me in the heart of my devotees.
Lord Shiva said.
So she was concerned. She had so much love and faith in Lord Shiva, her husband, and somehow she was feeling, how do I have the most perfect thing? And then she heard this from the scripture that Krishna said, I am in Sraddha, what is it? Sraddha, read it.
Aradhanam sarvesham vishnor aradhanam param. Tasmat paratmaram devi tadiyanam samarcha.
So I'm in the heart of my devotees if you want to find me. And then she thought, oh, well, Shiva is a devotee of Krishna. So I'm having so much love for Shiva. And then I'm having love for Krishna also. That is my Krishna. I'm there. So Gurudev is like that also. If we have love for Gurudev, a genuine love, genuine faith, then who is Gurudev? Is he that singular body? Or who is he? Is he just another person in this world who happened to come at some point, particular time, and then left just like any other person? Is that Gurudev? Was that Gurudev just that body? So we understand something more than that, huh? The mystery of Gurudev, the mystery of God, of Krishna, is there, and that we can't see him. We don't, not any particular thing. So Gurudev is like that also. He is particular and he is not particular. He is particular and he is also Krishna. So when we see anyone who reminds us of our Gurudev, or who we remember our Gurudev when we see them, then we see our Gurudev there too. Memory, huh? Remembrance. We are our memories, pretty much, or we identify ourselves with our memories. The repository of all experiences and all thoughts in our life. And Gurudev is there also. So when that becomes part of our identity, our experiences with Gurudev. And people don't realize that when they are seeing something, when they are experiencing anything in this world, their memory is part of that. Their experiences go in their memory, and their memory also goes in their experience. It helps them to understand their own experience. So these things, when devotee has the prominent form in his memory is Gurudev, and then when we become very dedicated to Guru, then that form becomes very prominent to us because our whole life is directed toward that. Is influenced. All our memories are influenced by that prominent memory. And so when one is remembering Gurudev or one is remembering Krishna so intently, then his vision is also influenced. Just like we know the story of Gorkishore, huh? Gorkishore Das Babaji, children were throwing stones at him. He was so absorbed in Krishna, he did not pay any attention to the environment in a negative way. Because he was always thinking of Krishna, the whole environment appeared to him in Krishna's form, Krishna's pastimes. And so when those children were throwing stones at him, because he was running around nearly naked, like a crazy man, and he thought, unperturbed by the world, they began to throw stones at him, thinking he is a crazy man. But Gorkishore had so much focus upon remembrance of Krishna. He was saying, "Oh, Mother Yashoda, I'm going to complain that this Krishna is such a bad boy. They are all Krishna throwing stones at me." And he was going to complain to Mother Yashoda, "Look at your children. Your child, he is so bad." They always seeing Krishna, not interpreting it in any other way. I remember once with Srila Sridhara Maharaj. He one day he had an earache. Sometimes he would get an earache, and somehow I had become interested in magnetism. He had magnetism as a healing modality, and so I got some magnets in India, and I had these little magnets in my hand, and I found that by using magnets you could heal some things. When I would get a toothache, I would just put a magnet, the north. You have to put the north pole of the magnet. I would put the magnet near my tooth, near my cheek, and the pain would go away. So I knew that it worked. I was very surprised. Anyhow, he was having an earache, and I had these tiny magnets that I put some cotton and wrapped them up nicely with some cotton so he can put them in his ear. And Guru Maharaj put that in his ear, and he said, "Oh, it actually worked." And he would actually ask for it sometime when his ear was beginning to hurt. He would call them batteries. He said, "Where are those batteries?" And then I would prepare them again for him. Actually, I gave them to Sridhara Maharaj for some time when he was not feeling well, and he was using them. And then somehow or other, Nimai Prabhu, remember Nimai, his nephew? He must have got them and was playing with them. And then Guru Maharaj again became disturbed with that earache, and he wanted to put them in his ear. But they realized they did not know which side to put them in. So whether North Pole or South Pole, like that. And so they came to me again, Maharaj, you have to tell us how to do this. And again, we put them in the proper way, and then put it again. He had some benefit from that. Anyhow, the interesting point of that was that what Guru Maharaj Sridhar Maharaj used to say when these pain would come, he told one day that Krishna is playing with me. Krishna is playing with me, sticking his fingers in my ears. Something like that. He saw it like that. He said, Krishna is playing with me. So this vision of the devotees, that memory, and that the intensity of that relationship, it overwhelms the role of the memory in our observations of the world. So I was reading the other day, someone wrote to us about our preaching activity. Some of the articles we had written, they were very interested, and I was trying to explain to them about the how to learn these things. He was asking, and I was trying to explain something about faith. Can you find that verse? And I found, trying to see something in Bhagavad Gita. Everyone knows. No, stay there. Everyone knows that Bhagavad Gita says in the 18th chapter, Krishna says, Sarvadharmam parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja. Everyone knows about Sharanagati, Sharanam. Surrender to me. Put your focus on me. Surrender to me. But I was trying to find out what does he say about Shraddha, about faith? Rupa Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami has told us, Ado Shraddha. You know that verse? Ado. Tata sadhu sangata bhajana kriya. That verse that Rupa Goswami has given, the Abhideya Prayojan, the path he gave, Ado Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha. So he says, first there must be faith. Now, is that Sharanagati? What is the relation between Shraddha and Sharanagati? It seems that Shraddha must come before before Sharanagati. What do you say, Maharaj? Shanta Maharaj?
Maharaj, actually, Srila Maharaj, somewhere it is explained there are two types of association, one before and one after. Means this before Shraddha itself we have association, and that association is in the form of Sukruti, means Vaishnav has distributed some Sukruti. Then we develop Shraddha, and then more further Shraddha cultivated after initial Shraddha, and that is through initiation and Bhajana Kriya, it is a
Uh-huh.
ongoing process.
Okay.
I mean, that may be the initial association. Just gradually the surrender increase and Shraddha also
Well,
increase.
yes, but the Sukriti is merit, right? And not really Shraddha, but we develop some good uh, deeds. We have some good deeds, some uh, something that puts us in an auspicious condition.
Maharaj, what Srila Maharaj was saying, association, because in that sloka, Radha Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha it says. So
Yes,
what he's saying that
that
before Shraddha itself, there is Sadhu Sangha.
yes. Before Shraddha, I see.
It's initial association that Vaishnav has given you some prasad or you done unknowingly some service.
Yes.
So that is not yet very substantial. But after you know initiation and connection with the Vaishnav, then Siddhamar says that the further thing develops.
Uh, Anyhow, so Srila Rupa Goswami says, Ado Shraddha. That faith in the Guru, that faith in Sadhu, must be the first thing that comes. Then what? Then we can have surrender to Guru. No, if we don't have faith in Sadhu, what is the question of surrendering? Can you surrender to someone you don't have faith in? That doesn't seem reasonable, no? So that faith, very interesting thing. I remember Sridhar Maharaj used to say that faith is the most important thing. And that we only need faith. Any other consideration is not necessary. We don't need education. We don't need money. We don't need fame. We don't need to be in a powerful position. Just faith. Even the most simple person, even a housewife who is living in the village, tending the cows and feeding her children, and her husband living in a thatched hut. If she has faith, then she can begin. that in faith in sadhu, not just faith means not just everyone has faith, but faith in sadhu, ado shraddha, sadhu sang, Prabhu,
Yeah.
sadhu sang, faith in sadhu. So when they meet sadhu, they say, "Oh, yes, I want to connect, make my connection here, sir, direct my energy, my service, leave my life in connection with this sadhu, with this saint." Why? Because we feel this will be beneficial. This will give us our heart's desire, which is to become Krishna conscious, to have a connection with the Supreme Lord, with that harmonious whole. Sadhu Shraddha. But that Shraddha, see? Sometimes when I'm reading the Prabhupada Jivanamrita, I'm realizing the emphasis is on Sharanagati. But then what is the function of Shraddha in that? See, this is very important, no? To consider that also. Sharanagati is one thing, but Shraddha is also essential for that. So then I was looking in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying Sharanagati. But in the 17th chapter, the 17th chapter of the Gita, what is the topic there? It is the Shraddha, and the modes of nature. Now, don't you stop changing that. I have it on the screen here. And Krishna Keshavas keep changing the screen. So, I can't remember that verse, so I asked him to put it here. So this verse, the third verse of the 17th chapter, it says, Sattvanurupa Sarvasya, Shraddha Bhavati Bharata, Shraddhamayo Yam Purusho, Yo Yat Shraddha Sa Evasha. So then you notice this word in Sanskrit, Sattvanurupa. Sattvanurupa Sarvasya. Everybody has this Sattvanurupa. Sarvasya means everybody, right? So Sattvanurupa, what is that? That is two words, no? Sattva and Rupa. Sattvanurupa Sarvasya. It looks like the form of goodness. Everyone has the Sattva Rupa. Sattvanurupa. Shraddha Bhavati Bharata. Then it says, Shraddha is faith, and Bhavati Bharata. Everyone has this mood of service. Bharata. He's talking to Arjuna. Oh, Bharata, everyone has this Shraddha, this faith. Sattvanurup. And it's interesting that Sridhar Maharaj gives the translation, it is given the translation in Sridhar Maharaj's Bhagavad Gita. Sattvanurupa is translated as consciousness. So consciousness, Sattvanurupa. Why is that sattva? It's connected with consciousness. So according to one's consciousness, what is the translation now? The faith of all living beings is governed by their consciousness, he says. Of course, we know that. According to our consciousness, we are moving, and the results and everything of our movements that will all be part of our coming from our consciousness. We'll do different things, go in different directions, pay attention to different things. So according to our consciousness, we are moving in this world. Then the next part of that verse. Can you go back to that? Next part of that verse says, Sraddha-Mayo yam purusho. Sraddha-Mayo yam purusho. Yo yat Sraddha sa. So Sraddha is there again. Shraddha means Shraddha. So it says that by his faith, everyone Shraddha Maya means he says possesses faith by constitution. Now, what is that? Everyone possesses faith by constitution. We are that living entity, the Atma.
I think something is rubbing.
Huh?
Something is, some rubbing sound is coming.
Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. So, by faith, Sraddha Maya, Sraddha Mayo means mind, like that. It possesses faith by constitution, yam purusho. The purusho, the living entity, the person, is constituted by faith. So this Atma, what is this Atma then? Here, Krishna is telling this Atma is Sraddha-Mayo yam purusho. It's constituted by faith. It's a faithful entity. It's an entity that has faith as its substance, as its essence, and not something that we get from somewhere else as something we are. And then he says, Yo yat Shraddha sa. That means that you are, or that he is, what his faith is. You are what your faith is. It's interesting when I read Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, the translation there, they don't make this point so explicitly. They don't say you are what your faith is so explicitly there. But here Sridhar Maharaj says it very clearly. And other translations I've seen of the Gita, they also make this point. That you are your faith. So that makes faith very fundamental. Then when Rupa Goswami said, Ado Shraddha, he didn't say anything about Sharanagati, he said Shraddha. And it's that faith that leads us, as far as I'm understanding, it's that faith that leads us to surrender, what we call surrender. Because what we call surrender is actually faith in the sadhu. Because once we have faith in the sadhu, then we're ready to do whatever we have to do, no? To carry out the orders or the desires, or to meet the pleasure, satisfy the pleasure of the sadhu, of guru. Then we are ready to do all those things, which is what surrender is. Surrender means to be obedient, to be willingly serving, to accepting whatever Gurudev told. I will accept that, make that my life duty, my life purpose. And that is Sharanagati, surrender. Give up the independent life, independence, direct our free will to the lotus feet of Gurudev and give our will, surrender our will to Gurudev. And we can't come to that point of surrender until we do that. Some people think, I don't need Guru. I can also serve Krishna in my own way without Guru. But there is no giving up the will in that case, one's own will. The only way surrender can occur by giving up the will, by taking instead of your will, Gurudev's will, is by approaching Guru. That is Vedic intelligence. Huh? The Vedas know this. If you're saying I'm surrendering to Krishna on my own, then you're still acting by your own will. Whatever you're doing by the influence of your own will. But if we give the will to Gurudev, we say, no, I'm not going to follow my own will. I'm going to follow the instruction of Gurudev. I want to be submissive to the will of Gurudev. Then that is a surrender. Then we can understand what surrender is. Then we can understand what actual humility is. But before we can do that, we have to have faith, Shraddha. So that means that the Atma is this particle of faith. And that, what is that? In the Gita also, Krishna tells Arjuna, says, Aham Pita Bija Prada. He says, Aham Pita Bija Prada. He says, I am the father and the Bija Prada, the seed giving. I am the father who is giving the seed. Father is giving the seed to the mother for the child to be born. So Krishna is saying, I am the father to give Bija Prada, to sow the seed. Who sows the seed? That Bija. And what is that Bija then? That Bija is the Atma. And that's what is born in this world. The Atma. That Atma comes from the Bija of Krishna, given by Krishna. And then we know this Bija, this seed. Where do we know that? Where do we hear that word, Bija?
Bhakti love the beach.
Huh? Bhakti, you heard of Bhakti? Lata Bija. The Bija, right? Bhakti Lata Bija. That seed. So Krishna says, I am putting that seed. Then what does that seed of faith, that faithful entity, where do you put the seed? If you want a seed to grow, seed means the initial stage of something, huh? But that seed has to grow into something. Then, but it doesn't just grow on its own. You can't just have a seed and suddenly it'll sprout a flower or whatever. In order for the seed to grow, to develop, you have to put it in the soil, in the ground, or somewhere. You have to put it in some environment where it can get nourishment, where it can be get the nourishment, and then it can develop. So what does Rupa Goswami say? That the Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha. You put that seed at the lotus feet of the sadhu, at the lotus feet of Guru. Let it grow there. There you'll have a good soil. There you will get the nourishment and the protection for your seed to grow. Grow what? What is that seed to grow into? And the highest perfection of that seed, which is coming from Krishna to begin with, is to have its relationship, Krishna praying with Krishna, a loving relationship with Krishna. Again, or we can say that is its fulfillment. That seed which is coming from Krishna belongs to Krishna and has a relationship with Krishna. Somehow or other, the love for Krishna has taken a seed form. Of course, other way to look at this is that that seed is coming from the Tatastha Shakti, not coming directly from Krishna. And that Tatastha Shakti is full of these particles of faith, just a particulate form of faith. And then developing that faith requires the proper soil, the proper association of sadhu sang. And then we know from there that sadhu sang, then bhajan kriya, anartha nivritti, all those stages of development will follow. That bhajan kriya means service. Kriya, activity, huh? Bhajana kriya though, not just any activity. Bhajana kriya. Bhajana means worshipful. Service done in a mood of worship or devotion, dedication. So in the Vedas also, this word Sraddha is found in different places. And the way it's used in the Vedas is that if you don't have this Sraddha, if you don't have this faith, when you're performing different rituals and rites and whatever, then those things won't have any effect. You won't get the benefit from them. So Sraddha is mentioned throughout the Vedas. Anyhow, as regards, now we're talking about Acharya Maharaj's appearance, mentioning all these things. But Acharya Maharaj is the embodiment of these principles. When he came, at first time he came to the mutt it was in 1992, I think. In 1992, Acharya Maharaj was living with his actually he had left his family and he was engaged in teaching. He made a teaching profession. What is that? And he made a teaching, a school he was teaching all kinds of subjects. I think he has I said he had a master's degree in mathematics, but he was teaching mathematics and history and all different subjects. He was even teaching English grammar, science, and whatnot. And he was making a good school because he was one person, but he was teaching all these different subjects. So they thought, who is this person who knows so many things? So they wanted to come and learn from him. And he was very excellent and expert in all these things. And he was teaching like that in school. And he said he got something, I think he said he got 250 students. Amazing, huh? Good ability, great skill, you see. And he said he was charging each one student 50 rupees. 50 rupees each. And so 250 and 50, it's like he was making a lot of money. Anyhow, somehow he was doing like that and he was becoming very successful. Then he said one night he was sleeping and some Akashvani, some sound came and said to him, Govinda Maharaj is alone. Go and help him. And he said, I did not know who's this Govinda. Then the next day he went out from that school and he was walking and walking. And then he saw the spires of the temple, the top part of the temples, and he went in that direction. And he saw the wall and the gate of the temple. He didn't know what temple it was. Anyhow, he just sat down there outside the gate and still thinking what to do, what was going on. It was like he was being led by some unknown force. And one devotee came out from the temple gate and said, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm just walking. I just came to sit here. And then went away. And then that devotee, I think, came back to the temple that the evening. And he was going actually to Hapaniya. And so he came back to the temple and then he saw Acharya Maharaj was still sitting there, this young man, still sitting there. And somehow he invited him back, okay, why don't you come in and have some prasad? And Acharya Maharaj said, what is prasad? He didn't know at that time. He was not educated in any of these things. He knew so many subjects, but he knew nothing about Mahaprabhu. And so he came in the temple, he took some prasad, some food, and he was very happy. And actually what he did, that devotee who came back and brought him back in the temple, they had some prasadam waiting for him at the temple. He had in some, put in the kitchen, some prasad for him. So that when he came back, that prasad was waiting for him. So then when Acharya Maharaj was there, he said, oh, you want to have half? You can have half of this prasad. And Acharya Maharaj thought, oh, I'm taking something from you. How will you eat out? This is not enough for you. He was worried like that. Anyhow, he was very grateful and he had a little prasad like that. And then they asked him to stay at the temple. Other devotees saw him and they were talking to him. He was telling, I am a lawyer, I'm this, I'm that. They asked him, what do you do? And then he told I'm a lawyer. And then anyhow, that devotee said, well, you're an educated person. Why don't you stay here at the temple? All right, he said, okay. And they gave him a mat to sleep on. I like that. He began. And later they asked him, what are you doing here? He said, and he told them, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm here and I'm doing this and that. And then they asked him, who is the guru here? And he said, I don't know who's the guru here. Nobody told me anything. Then they told him, well, the guru is Govinda Maharaj. And when he heard, oh, Govinda Maharaj, I heard that name. That was the name that called me. And he realized he was there at that temple, at the place where that Akashvani had called him. Like that, it was after 2 or 3 days he was sitting there. And from there, of course, he went on to do much service for Govinda Maharaj. Govinda Maharaj was very pleased with him. He built up that whole Govinda Kund, the Shiva temple, Giriraj. He was responsible for constructing that. And other places also, of course, Pavanpar and so forth. And he installed the deities of Gornitai at Ekachakra. Then in 1999, just around 2000, Govinda Maharaj told to Acharya Maharaj, okay, when he was a brahmachari, he named him Vinod Ranjan. Sripad Vinod Ranjan Brahmachari. And when in 2000 or 1999 or somewhere around that time, he asked him if he wanted to take sannyas. Then Acharya Maharaj was very humble and very dedicated to Govinda Maharaj, and he's told, Maharaj, I am your goat. Yeah, your goat. You can cut my head, my tail, whatever you want, you can do with me. And if you want me to take sannyas, I will do that. After some time, he told him, yes, Maharaj, I can do that if you want me to. And like that, he became Acharya Maharaj. He gave him the name Nirmalacharya Maharaj. Nirmalacharya. At that time, he also mentioned that Ramadevi, dear associate of Srila Maharaj, told to Govinda Maharaj, yes, Govinda Maharaj, you needed a successor, Acharya. And so then, upon that, Govinda Maharaj also gave Vinod Ranjan the name Acharya, Nirmal Acharya. And in that way, he became a sannyas. And then later, what was the year that 2000, was it 2010 that he made him
Govinda Maharaj declared Acharya Maharaj?
What year?
2009, last puja.
2009.
December.
Okay. So about 10 years later, 2009, he declared him to be the successor, Acharya. But all that time up to as soon as he came to the mud, he was very dedicated and had automatically somehow Krishna had drawn him, and he gave his whole life, his whole faith, he put in Govinda Maharaj, complete trust, and did so much service for him. That is Sharanagati. Yeah? So we have to look very deep to understand who we are. We have to look very deep into the deepest recesses, that foundation upon which we ourselves are defined. That faithfulness. People think, I can't put my faith, I'm not a person who puts his faith in anything. I do things by this process and that process. I am a responsible person. I am this, I am that. I am so intelligent. I can figure out my own life. And they don't realize that underneath all these things they have knowledge of. Some acquire so much knowledge of how to do this and how to do that. A knowledge of worldly things. They don't think that anything such like faith exists for them, especially the scientists. Oh, I'm going to look with my microscope and my telescope and my X-ray machine, and I can tell you this and that about the world. And we have this theory and that theory, how this works and how that works. What's the question of faith? We know all these things are like we tell, like we see, like we measure. Where does the question of faith come in? These people who have faith, they're all sentimentalists. They don't have a good brain, so they have to rely on faith. That is their idea. Fools, but they are foolish. We make the prayer, Om Agyana Timirandasya Yananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. What is that? Dear Gurudev, you have opened our blind eyes. Eyes are blinded. We have blinded eyes. This blindedness, what is that blindedness? We are ultimately a faithful entity. We are all ultimately entities of faith. But in the world today, if you mention faith, they'll criticize you. Oh, you're a foolish person. You have to put faith in things. You are a superstitious person. You're not a reasonable person. But they themselves do not realize that underneath every consciousness, their entire consciousness, their entire way they understand things, the entire way they understand themselves, the way of the methods and whatever they're doing, whatever they think they know, that underneath all of that is faith. You know, Euclid, you've heard of Euclid, he has made this geometry, He's the father of geometry. And how did he develop that geometry? He said that there are some axioms that a point that a line cannot cross another line if it is parallel to it. Something like that, a parallel principle. If you draw a line and it's to a point, then parallel to that line, they will not cross, however much you extend that line. Anyhow, he starts with some kind of principle like that. You cannot know that in advance. You can draw a line to a certain extent, but you can't draw an infinite line. So he made the axiom that if you draw an infinite line and another line that's parallel to that, they will not cross into each other. And he felt that was obvious according to his idea, but he could not prove it. He did not have any way to prove that. So that's called an axiom. Seems reasonable. But we know that later on, after Euclid, there were many different mathematics developed. They called non-Euclidean geometries. And what they do is they fool around with those axioms, those basic axioms, and they change them. Because after all, they are axioms. They are just given, not proven. They're assumed. And then they change those assumptions, and then they can make a different geometry. The same thing in science. Science has to begin with certain axioms, certain principles. And if those axioms or principles are modified in some way, then you can come up with a different theory. Just like we have classical mechanics based upon Newtonian principles of physics. He also had his axioms, assumptions that he started with. But if you change that, we get something like quantum mechanics, where energies are not considered continuous, but to be quantized, come in packets. Then we get a whole new mechanics, whole new system of understanding nature. So those underlying principles that people don't even look at anymore, they just accept whatever is given to them and don't look into the axioms and the underlying principles and see, oh, why should I accept those things on faith? We have to accept it on faith. If we want to accept their methods, we're actually accepting their faith in those things. So there is no knowledge without faith. Faith is the basis of all knowledge, because we are at fundamental level, our most fundamental level, we are faithful beings. And we never think like that. Most people don't even think like that. How is it that I am a faithful being at root, at the most fundamental level? But we never think of that. We think of what has come from that faith only. So examining the roots of things, where it all comes from, that is the real principle of knowledge. That's why Vedanta Sutra says, Janmadasya yataha. Tato Brahma Jigyasa, then it says, Janmadasya yataha. Janmadasya yataha. Where does it come from? And what does Bhagavatam begin with? Srimad Bhagavatam begin with Janmadasya yataha. Srimad Bhagavatam is the commentary on that question that Vedanta Sutra asks. So Sranta Maharaj has put that Janmadasyata on his logo for Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute. Janmadasyata is a fundamental question of Vedanta Sutra, and Bhagavatam begins with answering that question. Janmadasya ton vayad itartastra cheshu abhigya swarat. And he explains like that. That origin of everything is Krishna. Abhigya swarat, the independent reality by itself and for itself, was conscious. Not only a being, a substance, but a conscious being, a subject. Anyhow, so there I found something worth thinking about more. Sraddha. Where is my faith lying? We see so many different camps, so many different temples, so many different ideas, devotees from this organization, or that camp, or that organization. It's all coming down to where is their faith being placed. Sraddha. Has any literature, any sacred book been written on Sraddha-Vivek? Has Jiva Goswami discussed that?
Maharaj, all our kirtans of Narottam Das Thakur and Bhaktivinoda Thakur emphasize Shraddha.
Yeah. But no book has been dedicated to describing it, huh? Like we have book on.
Explanation has been given, but not exclusively that. Saranagati also emphasizes that
Yes.
by Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
There have been a book on Sharanagati, but any book on Sraddha Vivek, the science of faith. Huh? Does anyone ever think that there is a science of faith?
There is a book.
Huh? What does it say?
It looks like a Sanskrit document called Sraddha-Vivek by Mahaprabhu Rudrar.
Who?
Mahaprabhu Rudradhar.
Rudradar. I don't know.
But it's called Sraddha-Vivek.
Huh.
It's in Devanagari. Sanskrit.
Anyhow, what I wanted to say today, Dhanyavad Pranam, Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya, Vastatara Sata Shri Sripad Bhakti Nirmal, Acharya Maharaja Ki Jai. Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya, Vastatara Sata Shri Sripad Bhakti Niskam Santa Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai. And Bhakti Vigyan Muni Maharaj Ki Jai.